there's the Mark Karpelis is currently being charged and tried in court in Japan for embezzlement and data misuse and other charges. You guys, Kraken was awarded to by the bankruptcy trustee to distribute the 202,000 coins.
Right.
And if I remember correctly, you sent forms out and people created their accounts and like they're all ready to receive them. What's the deal? Like, where's the 202,000 coins? Why haven't we got them?
Well, the trustee still has them. As far as I'm aware, the last thing holding up the payouts is the ongoing litigation with CoinLab, which is, I believe they're asking for $75 million for an alleged breach of contract with Mt. Gox over, in my view, kind of a ridiculous deal that went south years ago. I think this was like 2013 that this deal was made. So basically, there's effectively like a business claim against the client's funds, effectively. You know, I don't know if you ever see this in banking, you know, where you have a custodian
it's really odd,
putting,
actually.
you know, with the client's funds at risk to pay like a business creditor. So, you know, I don't really get that. But this is being hashed out in Japanese court.
And in U.S. federal court.
Right. I think there's also another $5 million on top of this that was given as a deposit of sorts, like for this deal back in 2013, and that deposit was never returned.
Well, who gave the deposit and who received the deposit?
So Mt. Gox gave the deposit to CoinLab.
And CoinLab
so CoinLab was going to operate the exchange business in the United States for Mt. Gox. Like, effectively, I think the premise of this deal was that Mark didn't want to deal with U.S. regulation and getting all the licenses to operate in the U.S., and so he was effectively going to hand off the U.S. component of the business, the U.S. clients, to CoinLab to operate in the United States. But a condition of that handoff was that CoinLab get the necessary licenses to do the operation, right? Otherwise, they're no better off than Mt. Gox just doing it themselves without licenses. So CoinLab never got the licenses, but kept the $5 million deposit that Mark had sent. So they have that, plus they have, and now they're asking for...
But the trustee's trying to get that $5 million returned.
Trustee's trying to get the $5 million back, and obviously have the $75 million case
lawsuit dismissed,
right? Whatever. Yeah, but CoinLab's bankrupt in the meantime, so whether they even have that $5 million is, is questionable.
And CoinLab, if I understand it correctly, that is Peter Vesness, who was the chairman of the Bitcoin Foundation.
Right, that's right.
So effectively, we've got a bankrupt CoinLab with a frivolous lawsuit that's holding up the distribution of 202,000 Bitcoins to rightful, that were held in a custodianship relationship. And so he's holding them up with a business-related lawsuit on these customer funds.
Right.
202,000 Bitcoins.
Right. So he's effectively asking the Mt. Gox victims to pay for his business problem.
He's holding them all ransom, effectively.
Exactly. So that, he obviously wants to settle.
That sounds like a bad idea.
At this point, personally, I wouldn't take on that risk. I mean, it seems like you got a lot of angry creditors who've been waiting for the Bitcoin for a long time.
Well, I mean, what'd Stalin say? No man, no problem? I mean, it just sounds like a really bad idea. I mean, 202,000 Bitcoins is... I mean, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money now, yeah. In fact, it's...
And
today's Bitcoin price.
Yeah, and the time value of money, just the interest on 202,000 Bitcoins is a lot of money. So when you're holding this up...
Yeah.
Man... That seems like such a bad idea to me. My trust and estates professor in law school, he'd help people, create their asset protection plans in like Rancho Santa Fe, California, which like lots of money. And one of his clients was like, yeah, came up with this, and he's like, well, how about instead of like the $5 million life insurance policy, how about a $20 million life insurance policy? And he told him, he was like, do you really want somebody to have this $20 million financial incentive for you not to be around anymore? Yeah. and the guy kind of thought about it, and he was like, oh yeah, that's not a good idea. We'll just stick with the $5 million. Right. So yeah, I mean, this just seems like a really bad idea for Peter, because 202,000 Bitcoin, the Mt. Gox creditors have missed out on $200 million.
Yeah.
Because Peter's held up this lawsuit. That just seems like a really bad idea to me, to be gumming up the works in any type of a way. But
it's insane. It seems like people don't really care, or they're not aware, because he's still out there offering his security consulting services, and I guess he's getting business. So.
Yeah, well, I know several people that have millions of dollars tied up in Mt. Gox claims, and they might just not know that it's solely the result of this one particular person who's gumming up the works and not letting them get their funds back.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, to be clear, I wouldn't say he's the only thing, that, if he weren't around tomorrow, we would all have our money. There may be other like minor things left to do, but this is definitely the major,
by far the largest thing. But it's not Kraken's fault.
We've got.
If this were resolved, you guys could get those 202,000 Bitcoins distributed, really quick.
It would be fairly quick. Yeah, I think there's nothing else major to deal with at this point.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of shift gears to scalability issues. Not